Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to another video. In this one, I will go over everything you need to know to solo Direwmaul East jump runs as a Holy Paladin. If you thought you could not farm efficiently as a healer, that isn't the case. So buckle up and get ready to learn how to farm arcane crystals around the clock, even on a heavily populated server. But before entering Direwmaul East, there are important things that you need to have. First of all, you need a Holy Shock build. You can have the build that you want as long as you have 31 points into the Holy Tree for Holy Shock. Otherwise, it will take you significantly more time to complete the run, and you might not even have enough damage output to do it. In terms of your gear, before looking at any other stats, I strongly recommend that you get a minimum of 30 shadow resistance on your gears, so that you can get at least 90 once you use your shadow resistance aura. This is the minimum amount to allow you to fully resist spells, as you can see from this chart over here. Granted, it is only 1%, but it will save you more than once on Zevrim, that's for sure. Once you have reached that threshold, any piece of gear with good stamina, intellect, spell power, and spell crit is welcome, as it will allow you to clear faster, meaning more gold per hour. And here is a look at the gear that I'm using for the runs. As you can see, I have a few pieces of tier 2, and those are very important to allow you to have a much smoother run. As far as the trinkets are concerned, use the ones that you can get your hands on. I mean, Briarwood Reed, Second Wind, Burst of Knowledge, etc. are good ones to start with. And any other more valuable trinket is also recommended, for example, Shard of the Scale, Towep, Neltharian's Tear, etc. I mean, those can be rare on Holy Paladin, but I've seen some Holy Paladins with those, so it can be possible. In terms of consumables, I strongly recommend that you bring those with you, especially if you're still learning. I'm very comfortable with the dungeon, the pulls, and the fights, but I still need those every now and then, as sometimes the RNGs are just not in your favor. They are completely against you. So, major healing potions are very handy for the Zevrim Thornhoof encounter. Heavy Runeclaw bandages are important for the Alzin encounter, as, like I said, it's all about resource sustainability. Greater and superior mana pots for the same reason. They're also quite cheap on the auction house, and if you've leveled alchemy on one of your alt, you probably crafted a few superior mana potions, so you can use those instead of just vendoring them. And obviously mage food, it's always good to carry those around when you are farming. In terms of add-ons, the only add-on that is necessary for this is DBM, as it can tell you when Zevrim is going to be casting Sacrifice, the only spell that you want to dodge during this encounter. If you have any other add-on that can keep track of this for you, I've personally never used bigwigs or any other add-ons like this, but if they can do it, you can use these ones as well if you are more comfortable with them. I like DBM personally, as it also tracks how long it takes to kill bosses and is always encouraging to see that you start killing them faster and faster. So, now we get into part 1, which is getting to the first boss. Once you get inside, you want to go into that little corner of the wall over here, and you want to wait for the treant to go in front of you and cross that line on the ground. Once he's crossed that line, you can go and he will never aggro. Then you go on the ledge and you jump down with a Blessing of Protection, as there's no need to take unnecessary damage. And where you land, there's potentially a Dreamfoil node if you have Double Gathering Profession, or if you ever are running that with another person that has Herbalism. And once you are down there, you want to get to the pillar on the other side of the path, where you will have another potential Dreamfoil node. Then you want to be careful for the first patrol that is right next to you and the pillar, and you want to get to the other pillar over there next to the northern wall. At that point, you might also run into a Dreamfoil and or a Grum's Blood node. Now, get to the wall, stick to it, and get to the door. Be careful for the patrolling satyr, and once you see it, you can mark it with whatever symbol you want, because it will make it more visible in the future. Once you get to the room where Hydrospawn is, you want to look around the corner and see if there is a satyr over there. It's not always going to be there, but it is possible. And if it is over there, you want to kill it. There's a way where you can go in between that satyr and the other group to the left, but it requires a lot of timing and precision, so it might be just easier to kill it. Now wait for Hydrospawn to patrol, and then go either left or right. Here is how you do it if he goes to the left. And here is how you do it if he goes to the right. Now, once you are on the other side of the basin, cross over to the wall in front of you and get on the ledge. Once you are there, advance carefully to see if there's a satyr next to the rocks. Like the one earlier, it's not always there, but it is possible. And again, if it is there, you don't really have the choice but to take care of it. And you also have a potential ghost mushroom node. Now, there's only one last satyr in between you and the boss, and it is in the tunnel, so get into the tunnel and scout for that satyr. If it's going down the ramp, mark it, because you'll be able to see it before it gets in range to attack you. Get out of the tunnel into that little corner over here. Wait for it to exit the tunnel, and then get all the way up the tunnel and get ready for the boss fight. If it is going up the ramp, you can either fight it, or just change your run speed from running to walking, and walk behind it until it gets out of the tunnel, and then get in position of the boss. And if you are a herbalist, before the boss fight, you can check this spot over here for another potential ghost mushroom spawn. That brings us to part 2, which is the Zevrim fight itself. So from the ledge, make sure that you have full resources. This is very important. Your Blessing of Wisdom and your Shadow Resistance aura on. Pop your Divine Favor and use an Exorcism and then a Holy Shock on the boss. This will obviously start the encounter. From then on, you will dance with the boss around that pillar. Don't ask me why is it like this, but when you stick to the ledge behind the thick part of the pillar, he runs to the rock in front of his altar over there, before taking a sharp right turn towards the pillar and then coming to you. So you want to take advantage of that and keep hugging and distancing yourself from the ledge periodically to keep him going back and forth. But remember to stay out of line of sight from the boss as you do this maneuver. Once your Exorcism, Divine Favor, and or Holy Shock are off cooldown, peek a little, cast your spell, and come back out of line of sight from the boss. Also, every time you are not kissing the ledge, he will run back to you directly. Therefore, make sure that he is not too close to you when you are ready to use a spell and you are ready to peek, as that can lead him right next to you, and at that point, you more than likely won't have the line of sight to protect you from his sacrifice spell. I personally try to keep him between the rock in the back over there and the small platform with the spears right next to the pillar. Then you just rinse and repeat until the boss is dead. And don't forget to refresh your Blessing of Wisdom as needed. If you let Zevrim cast Sacrifice on you once, it is not a big deal. You can use your bubble to get out of it, hit him a few times with autos, judgments, a few spells, consecration, etc. before returning into position and resuming your ballet. It will be important to make sure that you are back at 100% health though once you are back into position. And that is extremely important because if you get sacrificed more than once, it isn't over just yet. If you have a big pool of health, you can survive it without a bubble. At this point, he will auto-attack you once you are on the altar, and he can probably cast a Shadow Word Pain on you. In that situation, stay calm and focus on the sacrifice debuff timer while spamming your major healing potion. If you don't die before sacrifice is over, you have a chance to use the potion, cleanse yourself, and get back into position. This is why it is important to get all the way back to 100% health if you get sacrificed, so you give yourself a chance to survive the next potential one. Once he is below 20% health, you will be able to use your Hammer of Wrath. But be extremely careful, guys, okay? This can be your undoing. It takes 1 second to cast the spell, and you need line of sight with the boss to do so. That opens you up to a sacrifice, and that can be extremely deadly. If your bubble is up or that you are at 100% HP and you have a health pot ready, then you are in good shape, but still be careful. The last thing that you want, trust me on that one, is to wipe on the boss while he is around 10% health. It took you long enough to get him to that point that you don't want to throw it down the drain. And that brings us to part 3, getting to Alzin the Wild Shaper. So once the boss is dead, loot him and proceed to the ledge of his platform. Make sure your character is walking and not running. At that point, you want to walk down the ledge and get to the one right below you. And then stick to the wall while walking towards the garden. You will prevent the patrolling satyr you marked earlier from aggroing if it is in this section. Make sure you get back to the garden without aggroing the satyr wherever it is. I mean, worst case you just kill it, but it takes away some efficiency. Once you are back into the garden, you need to go and talk to Ironbark while making sure that you do not aggro any trance in the way. You will open up a dialogue box with him and then you click on it. But before you go any further, you can check to your left over there if there is a dusty tome near the pack of lashers beside the pillar, and you might also have a dreamfoil and or a Grum's blood node. Then afterwards, you want to proceed to the door right next to where you jumped down earlier without aggroing any trance. If you do, it is game over because you cannot deal with them yourself. Old Ironbark will open the door before dying, and once the door is opened, continue through the hall. Once you get to the other end though, stop immediately and look if the way is clear. Sometimes if you take longer than usual or you AFK in a safe spot and come back, there can be a patrolling protector that comes right in front of the door, and this dude has a huge aggro range, okay? And in that case again, you cannot deal with him yourself, so you will have to die and reset. If it is the case and he is there, just wait for him to walk back down the ramp to your right and then proceed to the ledge in front of you. Once you are there, jump on that little stone, then on the ledge, use your Blessing of Protection, jump down on the pillar, and turn around and then jump down on the ledge, while making sure you go behind the pillar and out of line of sight from the boss. This is very important. You want to make sure that you're ready to start the boss fight. At that point, you want to make sure that your Blessing of Wisdom is on, and you have your trinkets for sustainability, and then you are good to go. If you are lucky and you see a dusty tome right next to the pillar, you need to loot it before the encounter, as otherwise you won't be able to do it afterwards because you never killed the boss, you just reset the fight. To do so, wait for the boss to get further away in the middle of the room, and then you will be able to approach the book and loot it. And that brings us to part 4, which is the Alzin fight. This is the final fight between you and your long-awaited RTVs, and it is similar to Zevrim Thornhoof in the sense that you will dance with the boss as well, back and forth from that ledge to the rock right next to the pillar in front of you. Alzin will periodically switch between his regular form and either a treant or a wolf. He is more menacing in his regular form though, because while shapeshifted, he will only attack in melee, and that isn't a problem if you jump from the ledge to the rock properly back and forth. While not shapeshifted though, he will periodically cast 2 diseases on you. One is Enervate, which will drain your mana if not dispelled, and the other one is Wither, which will deal direct damage and apply a dot that needs to be dispelled right away. Wither is really the most dangerous of his 2 casted spells and can be recognized by the dark purple glow around his hands, whereas Enervate is a bright green glow. Since both are considered diseases, you can become immune with Stone form if you're a Chad Dwarf, I recommend that you use it at the beginning of the fight to have the chance to use it at least once or twice again before resetting the boss. I also recommend that you wait for him to cast Wither, the dark purple glow rather than Enervate, before using Stone Form, as it is the only spell that deals something on impact. Enervate can be dealt with by spamming Cleanse once you see the bright green glow, and it won't have time to drain mana. Other than those two spells, the fight is pretty easy. You just jump from the ledge to the stone, and the boss will walk back and forth while taking damage from your Holy Shock and your Exorcism. Dispel any debuff on you and or use Stone Form to prevent them from being applied on you, and then fight the boss until he reaches about 50% health. If you're not using any add-on to tell you where the boss is at in terms of health, you will know that it's the time for the next phase when his health bar reaches the E in his name. At that point, the tunnel behind you will open and minions will come out of it and aggro alongside the other plant mobs in the far back of the room. Stay calm in that situation, it's completely normal, and go back on the ledge and prepare to jump down and run to your safe spot. Once the minions are getting close to you but not too close on the ledge, jump down, run around the rock and jump on this small platform over here and make sure you are hugging the corner. You will cut line of sight like I said with the other mobs, and since they cannot reach you as you're not on their level, they will de-aggro. The small minions will run back to the entrance of the tunnel and aggro you once more, but don't worry, this is completely normal. Before jumping off your safe platform and clap those little minions, make sure that you have enough mana for casting your bubble, your consecration, and a Holy Wrath, which is about 1500 mana. Once you are ready, pop your bubble, run down, cast a consecration followed immediately by a Holy Wrath, and watch those little minions die by the light. But then quickly run back to the platform to prevent the lashers from getting to you. And once again, hug the corner and they will de-aggro after a few seconds. The small minions, for some reason, it happens every now and then, are walking with the boss. It is not a problem. Use the same strategy. Run down, and then they will all get to you, and they will not aggro the boss with them, only the lashers. If you happen to re-aggro the boss by accident, or you have lashers that will simply not leave combat, you can easily deal with that situation. First off, make sure you have either your bop or your bubble ready, and then go back on the ledge where you were fighting the boss earlier. You can use your protection preemptively, or if you are dazed in the process. Once back there, the boss and or the mobs that you aggroed will go further away to the left to get on the ledge, as they did earlier, and that will give you another chance to have a clean reset. Once the minions are dead and all the lashers have de-aggroed, you are ready to run into the tunnel and mine those long-awaited arcane crystals. And it's just as easy as that. If for some reason you die after the tunnel has been opened, don't worry about it at all. You can always run back in and get back safely to your spot, but remember, watch out the patrolling trance and the protector, and you can just jump right down over the tunnel entrance with a bop, again to prevent losing 90% of your health in one shot. If the minions are already dead, then you can just walk in and start mining. Otherwise, you follow the same strategy. Use your bop, consecrate, Holy Wrath, then you go on the platform to cut line of sight and you will be fine. And that brings us to part 5, which is resetting the dungeon. Once you are out of the dungeon, keep in mind that you are in an extremely dangerous spot if you're on a PvP server, as you cannot get back up there as a ghost, meaning that if you die too close to the instance, you will need to talk to the spirit healer and take a res sickness, and that's a big no-no. So whatever happens, try to get to the hole and jump down as fast as possible. If you're getting chased, try to get there before dying, or stun, bop, and run, and then cleanse and Blessing of Freedom yourself and try to run back to the entrance. The horde can't chase you there, obviously. When you are ready to reset the dungeon, go out or just wait in front of the entrance. If you are in a party, obviously the leader can reset, and if not, you can just log out and then log right back in and once you enter the dungeon, you will have another fresh ID. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it and that it will allow you to make more gold as a Holy Paladin. There is no reason for you to make chump change even as a healer, and this technique is very good on high population servers as it allows you to be extremely steady with your gold per hour. In the meantime, guys, take care of yourself, stay safe at home. I have other videos coming soon, so we'll see you soon, and have a good one, and most importantly, stay blessed.